Okay, welcome for another video with me, Veerle, Veerle de Bruyne, and we're going to have a look at the lunar eclipse now. Lunar eclipse at 4 degrees of Aries, and it's on the 28th of September 2015. Now let's have a look about what is the meaning of this lunar eclipse, because that's what astrology is doing. It's looking at the meaning of positions of planets. Now, this lunar eclipse, before we even start to explain what Moon in Aries and this eclipse Aries in Aries energy is all about, we need to know where it comes from, the first eclipse that occurred. And it belongs to a Saros series that is called the 18 North. And if you don't understand anything about this, I put a link below where I explain in detail what the Saros series is all about. Now, we need to know the energy of the eclipse initially, what it was initially. And initially, this energy was about stressful energy. And but stress, when we talk about stress, people think, oh no, I don't want to go through that. But stress is there often just before we can make some alterations, we can make some adjustments or changes that we wanted to make for a long time. So therefore, stress is not always bad, but it's not a nice energy, of course. Secondly, the energy of this particular series of eclipses is a very focused one, a very focused energy, because it has the tendency of Pluto-Mercury conjunction. And that is all about the positive thing here and the negative thing. The positive thing about this energy is when you focus, you over-focus so much. You put so much attention to something that you investigate something in detail and you get to the truth. That's the positive thing. If you overdo it, it becomes negative. It becomes what we call in French an idée fixe. And an idea that is fixated, and because of that you get into the tunnel vision and you don't see any solution anymore. You don't get out of it, and you don't know that there might be other roads to take in your mind to find a solution. So that's one. So the important thing, and it's the same with the solar eclipse, that the original eclipse here was about a bit stressful energy and going very deep with the thinking, very well if you don't go too far with this. So that's the start. Second, this is a lunar eclipse in Aries. And what does it mean? The moon will be in Aries, and at the same time the sun will be in the opposite sign of Libra. So there is a focus on, you could say, connections, relationships, connections with one another, because that's the axis of the first house and the seventh house, the Libra house and the Aries house. And the moon is in Aries, so there will be culminations of understanding, you could say, and things that come to fruition. But in a sort of a moon in Aries energy, which is, Aries is a very courageous sign. It doesn't want to run away from something when it's fearful. It prefers to go through it like a soldier. And that's the good side of Aries. The negative side of Aries is impulsiveness. So no control about emotions. But let's explain this in the most positive way, shall we? And that is that we want to go through, so we do have a deep thinking there. There is a bit of stress, yes, but we also are not going to run away from relational problems. We want to solve them. That's the moon in Aries. They want to get things done. Aries is ruled by Mars, so the best thing to do is acting. But with caution, of course, because that's the other aspects that I'm going to explain in a minute. But that's the energy. Now, another thing that's very interesting, and I rarely mention this, an asteroid in an explanation, but when they are so close to the eclipse, I mentioned them like now. At the same time, the position of the sun, you've got Eros and Juno next to it. And what does that mean? And then next to the moon, there is Vesta, another asteroid, and that means something. What does it mean? Well, let's start with Vesta. Vesta is next to the moon, and Vesta is about devotion. Vesta is about, there is a higher purpose and I want to dedicate myself to a higher purpose. So it's almost if like when there are relationship things going on, there is this need, because that's the moon, to dedicate yourself and connect yourself to the higher consciousness, to the divine if you like, to God if you like, to Allah if you like, whatever. So it's very much emotions that are very passionate, but that are driven by something that is higher than yourself. So that's one. And then the sun is next to Eros and Juno is all about commitment. It's all about fairness. So fairness and commitment in relationships, but also Eros. Eros is passion and desire. So the desire comes together with the commitment, which is a very good thing. And also, it's not just the desire because of your own egocentric desire. No, it is in line with what is, you could call, the divine. So this is a very interesting aspect when it comes to relationships in general, I mean. I will break this down into the monthly horoscopes because for everyone it's going to mean something different. But in general, this is very meaningful for relationships. It's almost like look at the relationships that are very important to you and see the passion there and dedicate yourself and commit yourself in order to grow together. And you're always growing, I think, faster when you can connect with another soul on certain levels. So it's actually also in line with the other solar eclipse, with the other eclipse during this month, because that eclipse was all about understanding, and it was all about helping. So, and this is a totally different energy. It's a very individualistic energy because you're doing it because of your viewpoint, but it's not only your selfishness that comes in. It's not about, Eros is the desire and the passion that you want and then you make mistakes sometimes. No, it's about you. It's very calculated. Why is it calculated? And not only calculated, but also very practical, very real. It's because Saturn is involved as well. So Saturn is actually is in a square with Neptune. Very loosely, but there is a square between Saturn and Neptune. And this is, you could say, the very interesting aspect for something that has a connection with the divine to make that real. So it's in a tension though. So there's going to be, I think that people basically are going to know who they need to connect to and who they not need to connect to anymore. That's in a nutshell. And they are going to have that knowing. And that knowing comes from the connection with the divine that we have. And if you don't believe in God, it's with the higher consciousness or with the universe. Not everyone believes in God. But that's okay. Everyone has their opinion and has their belief and has their vision and therefore their perspective. But the perspective has made a bit of a broader sense there with the Neptune, but it's also very realistic with the Saturn there. And the confidence comes in because Mars is conjunct Jupiter in Virgo at the same time, and that is confidence. That is wanting to do, wanting to act, but in a very perfectionist way. That is the Virgo. Virgo is a calculated sign. Virgo is a cautious sign. Virgo is not going to take any risks. So all these energies it sounds complicated, and it is, because that's what the position of the planets is. But if you all knit it together, like knitting is associated with Virgo as well, I think, because it's doing something with the hands. Anyway. But if you all knit it together, it simply means relationships have a focus around the end of the month, and they have a focus in, it's not about what is important for you, but it's about what is important for the higher consciousness or for the divine. And then you make your connections deeper. That's the commitment there. Or you break them because they are not serving nobody anymore. Not only you, but not the other person and not the environment. So a very important time for relationships, a very interesting time for, and it starts with a bit of stress and it starts with a bit of tunnel vision maybe. But those two negative kind of energies prompt you into the opening up of the understanding of why we connect with the people that we do connect and why we better would not do that. So it's an exercise. It's not something that, this energy that I describe is not happening just bang on the end of the month of September, but it continues. So very, very interesting. Also, especially with that Virgo energy, the Mars and Jupiter in Virgo, because we come from a very fiery energy. So there were a lot of planets in Leo, and that was great. It's all about the individual. It's all about me. It's all about my creativity, and it's all about enjoyment and all of that. But now Virgo is saying, I've had it a bit with the enjoyment. Let's get real here. Let's get very, very real. And that's what Virgo is all about. It wants to put into practice the creation and the heart energy that is there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it was meaningful for you. And check out my monthly horoscope. That will be there maybe a day after this video, or 2 days. And have fun with the eclipse and enjoy it. Bye-bye.